Let's do some easy watercolor landscapes together in our nature journals at this beautiful creekside setting. First, we want to get comfortable and choose a location. Get our materials set up and then choose our subject. I like to use a pre-built frame or viewfinder, and I trace the viewfinder frame onto my paper. Then I look for my subject, and once I find my subject, I use the viewfinder to zoom in and out and crop, and this is really important for making your landscape look better. So I keep one eye closed and I try to do my entire sketch, and I spend about half of my painting time doing the drawing, maybe a third of my painting time. So go ahead and draw your frame through your frame and get the basic outlines and also the basic values into your drawing. You can see here that I focused on the composition and how the frame is divided into basic shapes and also the major light and dark areas. Now's your chance to reserve your whites. You have the basic drawing in and you spend about 5 to 10 minutes on the drawing. It's time to do some painting. So go ahead and paint in, starting with your second lightest value, leaving the lightest as just plain white. And I like to do a pretty wet wash here at first and just start with those light values of both colors. You can use some wet on wet. Now, while that first wash is drying, you have an opportunity to start another drawing. So I've taken my frame and put in this first basic drawing. That's about 5 minutes of drawing. And now my original wash is dry enough that I could go back and paint that one if I want to. So adding in, now I'm aiming for really reduced values, so about 3 to 4 major value groups. So I'm going back over that original wash and adding in a second layer of darker colors. And it's really easy in watercolor, especially when you're first starting, to not push those darks dark enough. So you can see here I really tried to push some dark values in. Now I can switch back to my second drawing and do the initial wash there. And remember, your initial wash is a good chance to do some wet on wet technique and be a little bit looser. I'm using a little bit of paper towel here because my water brush is really wet, but go ahead and get that basic background in with your lighter values. So things such as the sky, the background leaves, and most of those backgrounds are often the lighter values. So now I'm going to show you how I do my basic drawing. And I'm going to first start off with my viewfinder and actually trace my viewfinder. I'm going to show you another way to do this in an upcoming video. But after I trace that basic shape, I am going to use one of my favorite drawing tools, which is these Pilot pins that have a gray brush pin on one side and a black brush pin on the other. So I'm holding up my viewfinder during the entirety of my drawing. It's a little bit awkward and uncomfortable at first, but I'm trying to train my eye to really focus on the cropping and the composition. So now I am going to draw the basic drawing using the gray side of the pin. And I really like this gray because I can do the drawing and get some of the major values, but it doesn't dominate the watercolor. So when I do watercolor over it, it almost looks like the watercolor is doing a lot more of the work, and I really like the way that looks. If you've done the basic drawing well with gray and you've chosen a good composition, sometimes even just a single wash with one color can actually make quite a compelling little drawing. So this drawing took about 10 minutes. Next time you're out in the field, do a couple landscape drawings. They're really fun, and watercolor is a great, handy way to capture some of your engagement with the natural world. Wait, but Marley, what if I'm stuck at home right now and can't go out and do a landscape painting in nature? Well, for those of you who are stuck at home, Check out this video where I show you how to do a landscape painting from a photo. See you next week. Bye.